Good day, I am Padilla Allysa from 3CRY821. So today, I discuss the physical evidence and the chain of custody. So bago po ako mag-start, chain of custody is a legal term referring to the order and manner in the which physical or electronic evidence in the criminal and the civil investigations has been handled. In criminal trials, the prosecution must typically prove that all evidence was handled according to the properly documented and the unbroken chain of custody. So, what is the difference between the physical evidence and the trace evidence? So, ang physical evidence, ito yung mga bagay or ebidensya na nakukuha sa isang crime scene. Isa siyang bagay, for example, is mga bullets, guns, or mga fingerprints, mga footmarks. So, ito yung mga evidence na nakukuha sa isang crime scene. Ano naman yung mga trace evidence? Yung trace evidence, for example, ito yung mga blood stain na nakukuha sa isang crime scene. So, dito, pag tinatawag nating trace evidence, isi-examine pa natin ito kung kanino siya connected, which is a suspect or sa victim. So, the difference between the physical evidence and the trace evidence is physical evidence refers to any item that comes from the non-living origin, while trace evidence always originates from the living being. The most important kinds of physical evidence is the fingerprints, tire marks, footprints, fibers, paint, and building materials. So, yung sasabi ko po kanina, ito yung mga bagay or na talaga nakukuha sa isang crime scene. So, the trace evidence includes the blood stain and DNA. Kapag sinasabi kasing trace evidence, isahanapin mo pa kung ano nakuha mong evidence like the blood stain, kung kayo siya connected, which is the victims or sa suspect. Though, the next is chart of the way to collecting physical evidence. So, meron po tayong 6 stages or ways kung paano mag-collect ng isang physical evidence. Una dito is yung collection. Collection is collecting all the evidence. Sinabing collection, i-collect mo lahat ng mga possible evidence na makikita mo sa isang crime scene as an investigator. So, dito, kailangan mo i-collect para isa doon is magiging malaking ebidensya mo sa isang investigation. So, the next, pagkatapos ng collection, susunod natin dito yung identification. So, kapag na-collect mo na to, is identify mo na yung the purpose of investigation. So, dito, i-identify mo yung mga evidence na nakuha mo sa isang crime scene. So, from the identification, move on to tayo sa preservation. Data to isolate and secure and preservation. Yun nga, kailangan mong i-preserve yung mga evidences para hindi mag-contamination. Lalo na yung mga liquid like the mga blood, saliva, kailangan mo siyang i-secure para hindi makontaminate yung mga evidence na yun. Next is the analysis. So, identify tool and techniques to use. From the analysis naman po, dito i-identify mo din yung mga gamit na yon. So, dito, i-isa-isahin mo kung ano-ano ito. At kung paano ito ginamit sa isang crime scene. So, dito, i-examine mo kung ito ba yung persahan or accidentally lang na namatay yung isang biktima. So, from the analysis, ito-documentation mo to. Documentation of the crime scene along the photographing, sketching, or crime scene mapping. So, dito sa documentation, kailangan mo i-document lahat ng mga evidence na nakolek mo. Bakit? Para in case na mawala yung mga bagay na yun or mga evidence na yun, is meron kang copy na kahit mawala, may ipapresent ka pa rin sa isang court. And the last is presentation. Process of summarization and explanation, conclusion is done with the help of the gather facts. So, dito naman sa presentation is, ipepresent mo na lahat ng mga evidence na nakalap mo sa isang crime scene. So, dito ipapatibay mo na yung mga evidence na talagang pinangalagaan mo ng ilang araw or buwan. So, describe what will happen if the collected evidence were contaminated by your own hair, saliva, or fingerprints. If the evidence is contaminated by your hair, saliva, or fingerprints, there is a chance that your evidence will be damaged, especially if your evidence is sensitive. Yung nga sinasabi natin, kapag sensitive yung evidence na i-collect mo, dapat as an investigator, is isi-secured mo yung katawan mo. So you need to wear protection, for example, wearing the face mask to prevent the splashes, yung mga laway na hindi matalsik sa mga sensitive na mga evidences. and hairnet to fix your hair, and gloves to prevent the fingerprint from the leaving of the evidences. So, mahalaga talaga yung gloves. Bakit? Kasi nga, kapag hinawakan mo to nang wala kang gloves, may possible na yung fingerprint mo is mahalo dun sa isang evidences. For example, ito yung mga glass or mga baso nga, is possible na mapunta or mahawa or may sama yung fingerprint mo doon na i-examine pa. Kaya dapat mas secure ito is mag-gloves ka para hindi mo mahawakan yung o hindi mailagay yung fingerprint mo doon sa isang evidences. So, the next is describe why establishing the proper chain of custody of evidences is very important. It is very important to maintain the chain of custody to preserve the integrity of the evidence and prevent it from the contamination, which can alter the state of the evidences. If not the preserve, the evidences presented in the court by the challenge and the ruled inadmissible. That's all for the day. Thank you and God bless.